All right, and we are live here on my live stream for the Sine and Cosine Tangent blog. My name is Tony Nagatani. To my right is Justin Vaesi, and to our south is Aaron Bandler. And we are here to talk today about some amazing news that came across the wire quite early for me this morning. I live in Hawaii now, so it was pretty darn early. I was just having my coffee, and I took a look across Twitter, and as it turns out, pardon me, I'm an idiot. I was scrolling across Twitter, and as it turns out, the San Francisco 49ers have traded their number 12 overall pick along with their next two first-round picks in both 2022 and 2023, and the compensatory pick in the third round that they received for getting Robert Saleh leaving to go become a head coach. But they traded all that for number 3 overall with Miami, and so now the 49ers are in prime draft position to draft an amazing player at number 3. So, gentlemen, what are your thoughts? Let's start with Justin today.
Yeah, I think it all but seals the fact that Jimmy is not the answer long term. That's what I think it essentially confirms, is that Kyle just does not think he can win with Jimmy long term. Mm-hmm. I do think that you're looking at number 3. You're looking at I would imagine Justin Fields. You're looking at a Trey Lance at 3, unless Zach Wilson's a smokescreen and somehow he falls to 3 and Sewell goes 2. That's a possibility, just because John Lynch was at Zach Wilson's pro day.
Yeah.
So I think that there might be some truth to that. The more that I watch Trey Lance, the more I see a Josh Allen. He does remind me a little bit of Josh Allen. I also think, outside of, I'm trying to think about the quarterbacks off the top of my head.
Right. I'll tell you what. Think about those quarterbacks. Let's get Aaron's POV. Aaron, what do you think?
Well, it shows that they're all in on getting a franchise quarterback. Kyle Shanahan's never really had a franchise quarterback. I mean, RG3 was supposed to be that guy, but he wasn't it, obviously. Matt Ryan, Brian Hoyer, Jimmy G, he's never had one. So now he finally has his chance to pick his guy to the franchise quarterback. And it's pretty clear that the Niners 2 or 3 guys, and so trading up to 3 guarantees that they'll get one of the guys they like. It could be Trey Lance, it could be Fields. I would be shocked if Wilson falls beyond 2, but I suppose that if the Jets were for whatever reason to trade back or pick Sewell instead, because they're starting to ride with Darnold, Wilson could fall. But it's got to be either Fields or Lance, and it shows that firstly, this was a ballsy move by Lynch and Shanahan. They made some ballsy moves throughout their tenure, but this is by far the ballsiest. And so I have to give them serious props for that. They're going all in to get their guy. Just have to hit on it, and I'm sure they will.
No, absolutely. I agree with you. So getting back to Justin here. So Justin alluded to the fact that, Aaron, you talked about the fact that Kyle and John are going up to get their guy. Justin's been thinking about which quarterbacks, but they're going to pick their guy. The question, though, is, do you think the quarterback that they are going to pick is someone that they're going to want to start right away, or is it a situation where they're going to let the person ride the bench for a little bit? Justin, what do you think?
I think what's going to end up happening is we're going to see the compete line coming out of training camp. I think it's going to be, we're opening it up to competition, and the best player is going to play. Now, that could be Jimmy Garoppolo in the first 4 games, but here's the kicker. We're shooting for the fences here. And let's say that Jimmy Garoppolo isn't playing well in the first 4 games, and then somehow we start out maybe 1-3 or 2, or we're 2-2 maybe, but Jimmy's not playing all that well. I think you might be like, okay, well, maybe we ought to give this kid a chance. I think that there is that chance. And I don't want to be the Debbie Downer, but there is some truth to this. Even with this stacked offensive line, just because of Jimmy's durability, there's no guarantee that he's going to remain healthy for a full 17-game season too.
Right. Aaron, what do you think? Does this pick have to start right away, or can this pick afford to sit?
Oh, the pick could definitely afford to sit. I think what's going to happen is the pick will probably compete with Jimmy, as well as with Josh Rosen and whoever else at the start of camp, and presumably Jimmy wins the competition. But it's just insane, if Jimmy doesn't play well in the first few games or he gets hurt again, and then the rookie will have a chance to step up. But either way, it's a great position for the Niners to be in, because we know the Niners can win with Jimmy, So, and if he falters, then the infrastructure's in place for a rookie to step in and not miss a beat.
Yeah.
So it's not DJ Beathard or Nick Mullins going out there. To replace Jimmy. So, it's definitely going to be an open battle, and I think it's going to be talked about all season long. Mm-hmm. And so the pressure is really on Jimmy to go out there, compete, and do everything he can to stay healthy. Otherwise, he's gone.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. All right, so it was quite a haul that the 49ers gave up in order to trade up to number 3, essentially 3 first-round draft picks and a third-round draft pick. So to me, that designates that the expectation is whomever they draft, this guy is going to have to be a franchise quarterback. Otherwise, it's a waste of a lot of draft capital. So we've talked about it a little bit. So let's go back to Justin. I've had some time to think. Who do you think out of this year's quarterbacks? Let's assume that Lawrence goes 1, okay? And let's out of whoever is left with Wilson and Fields and Lance and Mac Jones and some people even talking about like Kyle Trask, Kellen Mond, like that ilk of quarterbacks. Who do you think is the most likely to be a franchise quarterback aside from Trevor Lawrence, Justin?
Yeah, so I would say for me personally, after sitting a year, I would say that it's probably Trey Lance.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that it's Trey Lance is you have to think about all of the division winners. And I know this is maybe not a very telling stat, but it does kind of give you a cause for pause. Mm-hmm. A lot of the division winners that are currently in the league right now, they didn't really come from reputable schools. A lot of them. They Russell Wilson came out of Wisconsin, Tom Brady came out of Michigan, mm-hmm. and Drew Brees, who recently won the NFC South, came out of Purdue. Mm-hmm. So not real quarterback powerhouses, if you would. So I think that there might be something to be said about that. But if you look at his talent, I think that there is something there. So I would say Trey Lance, the upside on him is absolutely great. And I would say close second would probably be Zach Wilson. Gotcha. I think Zach Wilson is just electric. And let's face it, we're Niner fans. The last BYU quarterback that we had start for us was pretty good. So
didn't Ty Detmer start some games for the 49ers before Steve Young? I don't know. Comment section might want to fact check us on that, but I don't know. You might want to check that one out there too. Aaron, who do you think is the best prospect outside of Trevor Lawrence to be a franchise quarterback in this draft?
I'm still going with the Justin Fields. I think he's got a cannon arm, a pinpoint accuracy. He's electric with his legs. I think he's also the most pro-ready outside of Trevor Lawrence. I mean, Trey Lance obviously has great upside, but he is still more of a project type quarterback. And Josh Allen has shown that project quarterbacks can work. But I tend to think that if you're going to trade that much capital to move up at the draft, then you want somebody who could theoretically start and play right away. And I think Justin Fields is that guy, especially given the team he would have around him.
Mm-hmm. No. So you guys both brought up 2 great quarterbacks in Trey Lance and Justin Fields, and quite frankly, because of the capital they have given up, as I mentioned before, Shanahan and Lynch cannot afford to miss on this pick. But that being said, they do have the luxury of having Jimmy Garoppolo on that team, so whomever they draft can sit for 8 weeks, 10 weeks. Patrick Mahomes sat for 15 weeks, right? 16 weeks before he got inserted, right? So there is some flexibility there, and I would not be upset if the 49ers drafted either Lance or Justin Fields just because of their tremendous physical upside. So, all right. let's do this. I asked you guys who you thought would be the best franchise quarterback. Let's get some bold predictions. Knowing what you know about the way NFL draft boards work and the way that the 49ers have drafted over the course of the last 4 or 5 years with Shanahan and Lynch. Do you think your guys are going to be the ones there and taken at 3? Who do you think the Niners are going to take at 3 beyond if you think they're the right franchise quarterback? And let's go to Aaron first.
I mean, we keep hearing speculation all day that it's going to be either Lance or Mac Jones. Mac Jones, that would be a major reach at 3. But I have to think it's Fields, just because I think Fields is the best suited for Shanahan's offense. I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong. There's one thing that Lynch and Shanahan are good at, is that they are good at throwing smoke screens.
Mm-hmm.
The leaks that went on. That went on during the bulky years are no longer there. So what I'm saying is that I wouldn't put too much stock into what the experts are saying, and I would just go with your gut. Think about who best fits the offense, and I think that's Fields.
All right, Justin, what about you?
Yeah, I think here we're splitting hairs. Right. Like, we are really, really splitting hairs. I don't think that we're going to be disappointed with either of them, whether it's Trey Lance or Justin Fields. I just think, based off of what I've seen, I think that Trey Lance is maybe just a sliver better, just in terms of moxie and toughness. But I honestly think if we have to trust John Lynch, we have to trust Kyle Shanahan. They did this for a reason, and they're pinpointing on something that maybe we're not seeing from a fan standpoint. So I think that there has to be something said about that. Based on what I've seen, though, I am a Trey Lance fan.
Gotcha. Let me ask you this. Let's say they draft a Mac Jones or reach beyond reach for somebody like a Kyle Trask, right? What would you guys do?
For me, like, I think Mac Jones is out of the question. Because I think he would have potentially been there for us at 12. So I really didn't think that there was going to be a need. If Mac Jones was your guy, I think that they would have had the wherewithal to just stay at 12. I don't think that you had to drop down to 3 or even 6. I think that Mac Jones would have potentially been there at 12. So I really don't think that. Now, if they had reached for Kyle Trask, I would have probably.
They may. It's a weird world, dude. I don't think they will.
If they went Kyle Trask, I would have been like, this is like Solomon Thomas all over again.
Worse, because all the capital is given up.
Yeah.
Just because of all the capital. You don't give up 3 first-rounders and a third for Kyle Trask, with all due respect to Kyle Trask.
Right. Yeah. Totally. Aaron, what about you? What if if they drafted that disappointing pick, how would you spin it? How would that make you feel?
I would pray for the TV, because I would probably start throwing my shoes at it.
Yeah.
I really think that if they were to draft like Kyle Trask or Kellen Mond or even Mac Jones at 3, like, a lot of Niners fans would start rioting. So not that Lynch and Shanahan necessarily should cater to the fan base, but I think they know that, and by cater, I mean they shouldn't take us like armchair GMs as gospel, but I think they have at least a general idea of value, and I would think they know that number 3 is vastly overvaluing Mac Jones. It's certainly more so than Kellen Mond or Kyle Trask. I mean, it would be kind of funny if the whole thing was just a massive head fake to get Kyle Pitts or Jamar Chase or Sonny Puel. That'd be kind of funny. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I might be okay with that, but again, like, as Justin said, you don't give up 3 first-rounders unless it's for a franchise quarterback.
Yeah, that's all there is to it in my mind. Like, they give up this much that they're taking the quarterback of the future for the 49ers, which is a really exciting place to be. We really haven't had this opportunity to take a quote-unquote quarterback of the future since Alex Smith. That was the last time we had, Kyler Murray was already off the board when we took Nick Bosa. And we had Jimmy G as the answer that year too. So we weren't looking for a quarterback the year we were in that position. But really, it's the first time since 03 or 04 that we are in the position of need for a long-term starter. And the amount of value that they gave up, certainly to me, it absolutely has to be franchise quarterback. It absolutely has to be franchise.
There's no other explanation for this. And you had to bring up 2005. Aaron Rodgers still kills me.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, same. I wanted him too. I remember being disappointed when I heard Alex Smith was the guy they chose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
shows you how ridiculous that Wonderlock thing is.
Yeah, Mike Nolan.
And let's be honest, Alex Smith has had himself a hell of a career, but he certainly was overdrafted as the number 1 overall pick, and to have that much expectation, let alone the fact that he had to suffer through 5 offensive coordinators in his first 5 seasons and being in the NFL. He had a lot to live up to, and also being drafted into the organization of the San Francisco 49ers, where we have the hallowed stories of like your John Brody's all the way through Joe Montana and then Steve Young, and pretty quickly after Steve Young, I might add, did we get Alex Smith? There was a lot on his shoulders, and they really kind of expected maybe a little bit too much of him, and he wasn't able to deliver, unfortunately. So number 3, though, this year, it's a good slot to be taking somebody, and you know what? We have Jimmy, so it takes a little bit of pressure off that person. So
exactly.
It's just all in all a really, really good move. All right, we've been talking for 15 minutes, so this is supposed to be a pretty quick pod. But final thoughts, Aaron. Final thoughts on this whole Miami trade.
Well, so final thoughts. Firstly, I think I said this. I think I said this already, but I love the move. I think that since Niners are supposed to be good for the next couple of years, those first round picks really don't mean a lot. And I think having a rookie quarterback too makes it a lot easier to sign Bosa and Warner long term. Mm-hmm. Having a rookie quarterback on a rookie deal really opens up a lot for a team in terms of cap space. And I'm sure that's part of the thinking here. But again, they have to hit on the pick. But I don't think they would have done this unless they had a guy or two in mind. So I think unless Shanahan have a plan, they deserve the benefit of the doubt, and I'm sure they're going to nail it, and it's going to be the guy that's going to lead us to Super Bowl number 6.
Hell yeah! All right, Justin, what about you? Final thoughts?
Yeah, kind of what Aaron said, just along the same lines as I don't think that they would have given up all that draft capital unless they knew that they had their guy in their crosshairs. And I think that that's very promising. I also feel, like we are in a position where that person and that player is going to lead us to Super Bowl number 6. And we've got to trust it. And like Aaron was saying, they sit for a little bit and they kind of learn the ropes, and we're going to come out with all guns blazing.
Heck yeah. All right. Well, my final thought is it wouldn't surprise me to see one more move that they may make to try to get up into that New York Jets slot for number 2. That would be, I think, talk about a ballsy move, but by trading this much capital and then just having to move up one more slot, I think they can get it done with something minimal, in exchange, just to move up that one slot and maybe even put themselves in place for Zach Wilson. That would be an amazing thing to actually see have happen. So let's will that into existence.
You, Tony, do you prefer Zach Wilson to the other 2? If you were John Lynch?
Yes, I do. Here's the I worry. I honestly worry a little bit about his attitude overall, in a similar way people worried about Josh Rosen's attitude, just because so much of life has sort of been handed to him, and he hasn't really had to. He played in the in the Mountain West, so his level of competition isn't that high. But looking at the way he can throw off platform in an offense that is already very similar to what Kyle Shanahan already runs, I think he's the kind of guy who might be able to actually start week 1, just given like what he has already done in college. And so just looking at that unreal arm talent that was on, I'm not sure if you guys saw that clip today, but he was throwing he was rolling left, throwing off platform. Obviously he was throwing against no pass rush, and it was to not wearing pads. And so we got to take that with a grain of salt, but it was just an unreal rep that only somebody who has truly unique arm talent could make. And so I think with Kyle Shanahan's offense, you need somebody who is who can pull off those. He's looking to play action fake and then throw it deep. And use the run game to set up the play pass and then go deep. And unfortunately, Jimmy Garoppolo just has not had that deep accuracy. Case in point, that Super Bowl play where he overthrew Manny Sanders, and that was it. And so I think Zach Wilson makes that play. He's mobile. They've erected a big offensive line in front of him, so I'm not particularly worried about the fact that he isn't used to facing NFL level pass rush, and I think he can acclimate, and also that offensive line is going to be pretty sturdy. I think McGlinchey will take a step forward, and I think he's not going to have to worry too much about pass rush, and he'll be able to grow into the position. And my only concern with him is attitude issues, but we already have Josh Rosen on the roster, so I think the 49ers can deal with that. And so. Yeah,
I think you brought up the deep ball, and I think that's one of the reasons why I think Trey Lance is kind of intriguing as well. Because the one thing that if you've seen Trey Lance's tape, he bombs it, and it's not just like a bomb where it's just like it's like he throws it with a lot of air under it, but it's just enough air to where his receivers get it. And I think it's like a rainbow, and it's Tom Brady-esque, because I think we can all just say Tom Brady's probably got the best deep ball ever.
Yeah. Totally.
Right. So,
well, Patrick Mahomes has a pretty good deep ball too. Let's be honest. But over time, Tom Brady, without a doubt. My the only thing is this: the way the Niners are built right now, with all the 1-year contracts, I still feel they're very much in win now mode, despite the fact that despite all this draft capital that they traded for a quarterback that might not be ready to go until year 2. And ideally, I would like to see the guy that they get after expelling that much capital start as soon as possible, because I do want them to win now. And they can still win now with Jimmy, by the way, because as Aaron astutely pointed out before, Jimmy Garoppolo wins with the 49ers when he starts. So just because they draft a guy doesn't mean he's necessarily going to start. Doesn't necessarily mean that the Jimmy isn't going to be successful too. So we can actually kind of have our cake and eat it too. But I would like to move off of Jimmy sooner as opposed to later. Get out from under that, a $22 or $23 million, however much it would be, if we were to part ways with him now, just to be able to extend Fred Warner, sooner as opposed to later, and then get ready for the cap to expand in a big way going into next season and set ourselves up not just in the quest for 6, but the quest for 7, 8, 9. Heck, we got to beat the Patriots, right? So anyway, the Steelers, and just get all the way there. All right, guys, I actually have some plans, but before we go, I just wanted to give a quick plug. Please, everybody, like and subscribe to this YouTube channel or this Facebook Live or this Periscope. If you're not watching on YouTube, please check it out. Sine, cosine, tangent on the YouTube. Please give us a like and a subscribe. And just want to say thank you very, very much for tuning in today. Quickly, Justin, do you have something you want to plug?
No, man, but if people want to follow me on Instagram, my Instagram handle is gentleman_Justin. And if they want to follow me on Instagram and touch base with me or ask me a question, I'm more than happy to answer.
Yes. Aaron, what about you?
You can follow me on Twitter at Bandler's Banter. I mainly post my work articles there, but I'm also a fan of the Niners, so always down to talk Niner football or whatever else. So,
all right, gentlemen, thank you very, very much for this quick kind of impromptu podcast, and we'll talk very, very soon, because I think the draft is coming up and there's going to be a lot more news. But take care, everybody. Aloha.
Yep. Bye.